This is Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Clifton Payne, and in the queue today, 8 news stories from the past day, as vetted conversational by you, covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. I'll explain the vetting process at the end of the headlines and bring some fun today things, so stick around for the end of the show. You'll want to get those as well. Visit our website. This is the conversationproject.com for more information about the full offerings of the Conversation Project. Also, emails as you will at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. As we said, 8 stories in the queue for Thursday, the 22nd of February, 2024. Let's get into those headlines. No particular order as they're being presented to you. This is just how they sort of lay themselves down in the process. Headline number 1 reads like this. Biden cancels $1.2 billion in student loan debt for borrowers in the income-driven repayment plan. That is the SAVE plan, if you will. And $1.2 billion is now being wiped out for about $1.2 billion, 153,000 borrowers coming through. This comes after the Supreme Court blocked a move for extensive student loan cancellation plan by President Biden last summer, but still sort of in bits and pieces by administrative action. It's executive action. It's working out there, targeting some folks who can kind of get off some of their debt. This is specifically for those borrowers with $12,000 or less who have been making payments in the last 10 years. So if you hadn't been making payments for a while, like a guy like me, you probably won't actually get in on this one. But student loan debt is a big deal, big issue, big case that Biden's trying to use to get more voters, be honest, and take care of folks, but basically get more voters. The problem is people on the other side are very Vietnamese against Vietnamese. They're really mad and don't want people to have their student loan debt paid off because they paid off their own debt. And it's a valid point. But there's also crushing debt covering all of us that could help us out a bit. If more people have money in their pockets, the economy would be better. That is just kind of basic politics, basic math. But some people don't like the politics part of the politics. Let's get into the next story at number 2 for this morning. Headline for that one reads, Mary Trump's feud with Jon Stewart escalates. Now, we talked about Jon Stewart firing back at his critics for the both sides-ism. Essentially, the fact that Jon Stewart is saying that, both Biden and Trump are really old and not exactly the greatest choices we could have in the president election, which is basically what every single American is saying. Jon Stewart's just more famous and he gets more laughs when he says that. This is coming in with now a sort of a feud between Mary Trump and Jon Stewart, basically critiquing Biden's age, particularly because Trump is a critic of Trump is a critic of Trump. Mary Trump, critic of Donald Trump, and slamming Stewart for essentially making a false equivalence and making them both seem just as bad, which they both are sort of bad in their own ways, but not just as bad. Where Trump believes that Trump is bad for America, Trump believes that Biden's just old and can kind of make his way through this and is better than Trump, who is bad for America. Too many Trumps in this thing makes this really confusing for me. Hopefully you're following along. Mary Trump is now battling back with Jon Stewart specifically over this issue. Now, Jon Stewart's hearing it from a lot of folks saying, hey, don't remind folks that Biden's old because he's old. But it's specifically coming big bit, and you guys clicked on it, so this is why we're talking about it. We'll explain the vetting process, as we'll say. This is one that you thought was conversational, the fact that Jon Stewart is beefing with Mary Trump and by proxy Donald Trump in the process. Let's stick with Trump, the other Trump, the Trump we're all sort of worried about, and that is Donald Trump, who says with a long list of VP shortlists, includes folks like Tim Scott, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy. Who's going to be the VP? Who's winning the VP stakes for Donald Trump when he gets the nomination for the Republican Party, which is basically going to happen? The very long short list includes all good, his quote, Republicans, contenders who can make things work out, including folks like Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, Ron DeSantis, folks that have been known to sort of be popular in the party. Now, Ron DeSantis is on the short list, apparently. We know that those two cannot get along, so that's not going to happen. There's also other names as well, including some big prominent females in the Republican side that may make a splash as vice president. We will see who gets this actual nod and if Trump can actually pull off the hat trick and make this thing work, becoming president before he goes to jail so he doesn't have to go to jail. I said those words. I said that. Let's go to the next headline. It's the 4th story for this morning. The headline reads, Oklahoma death of non-binary student Nex Benedict after in-school fight prompts calls for answers. This is a very serious and very deep detailed story. I'm going to read from the summary we have here and try to stick to this summary without very offering very little, context is there, very little commentary. Let's go to the facts. Nex Benedict, a 16-year-old non-binary student, tragically died a day after being assaulted in a bathroom at Oswego High School in Oklahoma. Reports indicate that Nex had been subject to bullying because of their gender identity, leading to widespread calls for justice and criticism of Oklahoma's anti-LGBTQ plus laws in the aftermath of the death. Although initial concerns suggested that the altercation directly led to Nex's death, Oklahoma police have stated that the teen's death was not a result of injuries sustained from the high school fight. This incident has ignited significant outrage and highlighted the ongoing issues related to the bullying and the safety of LGBTQ plus students in schools. As I said, very complicated, very deep, very detailed. If you want to go deeper into this one, let's do this in the comments before we bring it back up. But this is one that got a lot of response for you in this day, from yesterday, and so that's why it's here. Let me be honest. I actually avoid a lot of these stories because of the big issues. We don't necessarily have to be light and funny here. We take on a lot of serious things. But this is one that is well beyond my scope of being able to actually explain. So because of that, we stay away. This one was just way too big to not put out there. You guys proved it by making a conversational story for this morning. We'll go deeper into detail and give you more details, updates on this one. But this is one we basically usually try to stay away from. I'm just being honest with you on this morning. The next one we don't stay away from, and it's Pat McAfee, because he's just a funny cat. Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee can be less polished, that's a quote, because he's white. Let that wash over you for a quick moment. Take that in. So, Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee, both are on ESPN. ESPN is the main provider of payment for Stephen A. Smith, where he yaks a lot about people and yells at folks, and usually says very nothing but just animating people listen to that. He makes money for ESPN that way. Pat McAfee making money somehow for ESPN, although maybe not as much as they thought, as his show, a very prominent show for the youths, is now being live streamed on ESPN in the daytime, and people kind of watch and go with that one. It's very, 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 very unpolished, as Stephen A. would say. And McAfee can do that because Stephen A. says he can do that because he's a white guy. He's a young guy. He's hip. He's all that stuff. And because he doesn't have some of the rigor of things behind him as other folks do, say Stephen A. and other folks, he can do that. Now, it's something of a controversial take, although it's something of a pretty wild take, and it's also something of a more or less a real take. If Pat McAfee was some young black dude, he would not get away with all the wild stuff he would do. I'm saying those words because those words are true. McAfee's has been points of critiques for Stephen A. Smith, although they get along well because they're partners on TV, but points of contention of the way things work out, how things go on. Stephen A. Smith is becoming a larger platform as more people and more platforms are talking to him about race and culture and things, including some more of the, you would not expect this, right-leaning things, because he can play that role. However, he's saying these words and some people are starting to wonder where they're coming from. You can wonder as well, and you can conversate with me. You can converse with me in the comments of this video, of the audios, or in the emails as you wish. Number 6 story for this morning. The headline for that reads, U.S. to impose major sanctions on Russia over Navalny death. U.S. imposes major sanctions on Russia for all sorts of things. And right now, the newest thing is the death of Alexei Navalny. Announced to set this package of sanctions against Russia tomorrow. This is as the United States, or the people currently in charge of the United States, are blaming, President Biden specifically, blaming the Russians for the death of Navalny. Essentially, not just saying he died of natural causes because he was kind of worn down, but they're pretty sure that they actually did something specific to him to kind of make this thing happen. He appeared fairly well, fairly good spirits, fairly good health the day prior, and then just sort of died. Because people in Russia who tend to be opposition type folks tend to sort of die in weird ways. Planes blow up that are pretty well taken care of. People fall out of buildings that are pretty good, that people don't fall out of. There is the reasoning to believe that something's a little up with this. We will see. Probably not, because we do a lot of sanctions on Russia and they seem to be okay. Not just fine, but just okay. Let's go to the story we have listed as 7 for this morning. Another sad story. A girl dies after getting buried in sand at Florida beach. A 7-year-old girl named Sloan Mattingly tragically died after being buried in the sand at a beach in Lauderdale by the Sea, Florida. Sloan and her brother, 9-year-old Maddox Mattingly, were digging a deep hole in the sand when it collapsed on them. Both children were pulled out of the sand and taken to the hospital, where Sloan was later confirmed dead. Maddox also became trapped but survived the accident. The hole they were digging was reported to be about 4 to 5 feet deep. Ocean rescue experts have commented that such accidents might be preventable with presence of lifeguards on the beach. This heartbreaking event has raised awareness about dangers of digging deep holes in the sand at the beach. Sinkholes, which you may know, and potholes, essentially the babies of sinkholes from bad weather where things wore down and all of a sudden pressure on the spaces just sort of pops up and just pops in there. It's essentially what's happening here. It's not anything other than natural phenomena of nature. You dig a hole in some place that's not stable like sand, and all of a sudden it opens up another hole and you get buried into it. The article says, lifeguards might have helped because someone could have watched out and saw what was going on and helped out in the situation. We're definitely sending out prayers and good thoughts to the family on this issue. And finally, number 8 story for this morning. You knew we weren't going to get out with this one. Beyoncé becomes first black woman to top country charts. This is official. This is big. This is Jay-Z and Beyonce. Beyonce wearing big old country hat, showing that they got what's going on. They can take over all genres as they can. The power couple of the Carters are now becoming power couples in all genres. Beyonce's Texas Hold'em single, which she released 2 singles at the same time. One went R&B like normal, and one went country. To people's surprise, guess what? To people's surprise, she's tops of the chart. She opens up at the tops. We knew it was going to be breaking to the Billboard. She had made that distinction. First black solo female artist at the top country charts, essentially ever. Beyonce can't be stopped. Beyonce and Taylor Swift, why aren't they running for president? For whatever party, the Beyonce Taylor party, the Taylor Beyonce party, they can trade time between who's president, who's vice president. They can both be co-president, and they can let Jay-Z and Taylor and Travis Kelce be vice, Mr., Mrs. First, whatever. Why aren't they running for president? I mean, why? Seriously, what's the deal with that one? Let's go to the errors, apologies, and omissions. Other than reading that backwards, I think we did good today. I think we did really good today. We started a couple minutes late, but other than that, we are doing good. I got the pictures in. Everything's flowing fairly well. A story we are omitting, a story we can't have time for today, is came in at number 8 of the top 15. We'll explain why that means something in a moment. But this was a pretty big deal. Gangster Sam Bankman-Fried, put some proper respect on his name because he's gangster now, has pictures in jail, poses with alongside Bloods members who call him weird as. Yeah. So new pictures of Sam Bankman-Fried, the first pictures of him basically in prison, the crypto fraudster, is in a jail in Brooklyn. And he's in the house in Brooklyn and he's hanging out with former gang members, Bloods, Crips, all sort of folks. They think he's weird. They think he's odd. They don't know what to think about Sam Bankman-Fried. SBF is basically, making all the gangbangers cheese up with this cheesiness. But hey, safety check, alive and well. Doing okay. Not sure if he's getting any tats. Not sure if he's actually been beaten to any gangs yet, but we shall see. Our teaser story for this morning. Yesterday we teased the story about the trial for the people who stole the lyrics to the Eagles Hotel California and tried to sell them off. No one wanted to talk about that, so we're not talking about that. But today we're asking, do you want to talk about Ukraine, who is desperate for soldiers? In fact, the headline we have for the teaser story reads like this. Desperate for soldiers, Ukraine weighs unpopular plan to expand the draft. Will the draft be picked up to get more soldiers on the battlefield in Ukraine as they are battling for literally their lives of their country? We shall see how this works out. But we also shall see whether we'll talk about this for the Friday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Very simple task. You go to our feeds. This is how we get the stories into the conversational things. Our feeds are our links on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/ThisIsAConversationProject and Twitter.com/th_conversation. And you just engage in the stories you post about every 50 minutes or so from various news sources, various news stories. Like them, love them, hate them, share them. The more engagement it gets, literally, the more times you click on something and hit the little emoji thing, better chance you have of talking about it in the next iteration. We'll have 8 stories tomorrow for Friday
from top 15 stories of the day. So the story about Sam Bankman-Fried was a top 15 story, but we picked 8 other ones in the range. But you got to know that it was literally the 8th story of the day. So it got a lot of love from you guys. There's just only so much time, only so many spots available for the stories here. Got to keep it moving, got to keep it pithy on all that. So if you want to talk about this one, go to the feeds, chat it up, and we will get it in there for tomorrow. We are going to talk about our sponsor that we're in Spotlight today, and we're going to talk about the chess store. Now, the chess store is an interesting partnership because chess is a big thing in our family. Chess is big for us. My daughter loves chess, and we love chess and chess pieces. We have a couple chess boards that we had in the house, and we'll get more chess boards for the new house, which is the old house. That's a long story coming through, but we've been on hold waiting for the new great chess stuff we can use to decorate our place because we're on hold for a house. You don't have to be on hold. You can get your chess issues right now. You can get a travel set you can take with you that isn't a cheesy, stupid-looking plastic thing. You can get a nice, beautiful set for your coffee table, maybe one for your den, maybe some big chess pieces for your office, and get in love for the first time or the 45th time, whichever one you want to, with the game of chess and chess accessories. You got that going on. Go to this. It's a conversationproject.com/the chess store. It's a conversationproject.com/the chess store, and get your great looking, beautiful replications and beautiful iterations and beautiful sets for chess. It is a beautiful game. You can get it with very beautiful pieces and take care of us. You have using our affiliate link for a small commission going backwards. Thank you so much for checking them out and being with us as well. Now we're doing a little speed stuff because now it's a part of time where we talk about us. This is our promotional spot right here. And because it's February, we're doing our month of love stuff. We have a long list of things to bring in here. So we're going to try to get this in there quickly so that you can get the fun stuff. Fun stuff still coming, but kind of get what you can do to help us out going forward. Another thing I should have said in the apologies and errors. If you're a subscriber to the newsletter, you'll see some changes that hopefully you will like. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, one of these things will help you out. In fact, the biggest thing you can do is go to our website and click on the links for our newsletters and subscribe there. It's conversationproject.com. Facebook and Twitter, as I just said, the feeds, go to our feeds and you can tell us what stories to talk about. Of course, it's x.com as well, formerly known as Twitter, but still known as Twitter because that's what people call it. On TikTok and YouTube, we have videos. We have short videos. We have hot take videos that we love you to take hot takes of and complain and gripe and tell me just how dumb I am. I am more than willing to put my words, my face on the line for your engagement, for your enjoyment, for your entertainment, and for all your big, really bad comments, insults, because I'm big like that. Our podcast, we have audio versions of this without my face, just my voice. You can see that or see them at the podcast link of the website or look for us in your podcatcher. And subscribe, become a partner by going to buymeacoffee.jclevelandpayne. Cash App or Venmo us at jclevelandpayne. And of course, go to the partnership page and you can see all those things as well. Why are we doing this right now? We are looking for the end of this month to say we have a solid pledge of $200 more into our coffers every single month to help grow the Conversation Project. Just $200 more. And there's various ways to do that at various levels. If you are willing to give up $5 a month to help us do better stuff, we will love you immensely for that and hope that you can do that. Now, here's the thing. We're going to find ways to make this work regardless. So if you're not one with the means, follow us in the feeds, email us, and share the video, share the audio, share the information so we get a greater following. Maybe someone out there that you share it with will be able to help us pay the bills. But in the meantime, if you're sharing it with other folks, we can tell folks, hey, this is our subscriber base, so we can get more juice out of that and find other folks who have the means to do other things. With that, let's get out of here with the fun stuff. Fun stuff happens every single weekday morning, and we're no exception. We always begin fun stuff with birthdays because birthdays are the funnest stuff. Having your name called out on your birthday is always awesome. We're giving the main spotlight on birthday to Jeri Ryan, who's 56 years old on the day. She is extremely relevant as she's doing interviews talking about her current season of Picard on Paramount Plus, which I believe is in season 3. I don't have Paramount Plus, as I've said a million times, so I've not been able to see any of those newer Star Trek shows. And I'm a Star Trek fan, but I just can't pay for that extra subscription. Only got 8 of them and can't do that 9th one. But Jeri Ryan, playing 7 of 9, is once again reprising that role in a more human factor. She's saying she's doing the best work of her life in Star Trek and in general on Picard. And if you have a chance to see it, you should see it. Also, birthday wishes going out to Drew Barrymore, who's 49 years old today. Thank you, Drew. And Kyle MacLachlan, who was 65 years old on the day. Our history lesson goes in 2023, way back 365 days ago. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, that's the Academy, announced that the addition of a crisis team to help manage the response to any unexpected incidents during the award show. According to source, since Will Smith stepped on stage and hit Chris Rock, that was just that long ago, the Academy has since opened their minds to many things that can happen at the Oscars. Crisis teams, because, the slap. And today, on this 22nd February, it may not be all that cool, which is weird because the temperatures are kind of whacking out, at least here in Arkansas. We're back to the summer part of winter here in Arkansas because the South is all about, seasons changing every couple days. It's chili day, but chili is awesome any single day. So get yourself some chili in some form. Get you a chili dog, get you a bowl of chili, chicken chili, white bean chili, a vegetarian chili, however you like your chili. I don't care. It's National Chili Day. Chili should be on the menu somehow. I'm going to find some way to get a bowl of chili somewhere today, somehow, some way. Okay. And with that, we are done today for this edition of Things You Might Have Heard for Thursday, the 22nd of February, 2024. Chili Day. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the things we've done today to do some tweaks here or there. We're doing more things that are sort of live testing, and we'll kind of go back and forth. If you enjoy it, email me, let me know, comment me, let me know, see what's going on. If you didn't like it or didn't notice it, ask what it was. I will tell you, and then you can tell me if it worked or not. In the meantime, we want you to stay hydrated and stay limber and on task for all the grand things you are here to do. We like you as a listener, a customer, a viewer. But other folks need you around to just be you. So keep being you. Do those great things, those grand things. We need them. Follow us on our feeds and email us at the conversation inbox, gmail.com. Consider being a partner. And that's all I got for today. So let's have a great Thursday and get into some stuff for what should be a pretty good Friday. We need you to tell us on the feeds what to talk about, or I have nothing to talk about. So you do that. I'll do my part. Let's see you again 24 hours.